from Sadpo's side, I just want to officially announce Jan Keller's appointment as our CEO. Jan Keller is an international businesswoman who is currently the head of the Dyers Rees international law firm in Africa. And she is serving on various advisory committees throughout the continent of Africa, amongst others, the African Union as well. And then in terms of our local government, she's also serving on advisory committees to various of the ministerial departments. We are really proud to have her on board as a prominent member of our team, and also want to say that in terms of the Sadpo mission and vision, she is living proof of our drive towards transformation and as well gender diversity. She was a partner in PricewaterhouseCoopers, and we are so honored and lucky to have her on board, making available some of her precious time for us as an organization, knowing that she's got a heart for the smaller side of the industry, first of all, but secondly also for the country as a whole, understanding the necessity of our part of the industry.
Jan Keller, Mining Week would now like to put some questions to you. And the first one, it's around alluvial diamond mining and that industry. It has huge potential. We've heard that from Sadpo before, to uplift rural communities in some of the poorest parts of South Africa. It'll do that by creating much needed employment. What will you do as CEO of Sadpo to use alluvial diamond mining to create jobs?
I'd like to speak about Sadpo's mandate, because as a Sadpo CEO, that is what I'm here to actually implement. I have been acting in this position for the past 4 or 5 months. I need to give you and the rest of the industry, what we do basically on day-to-day basis, because that is what our membership is not able to do, because our membership, what they wanting to do is what they do best, and that is to mine. But to sit in their offices and have to be looking at compliance, regulations, and everything else that is affecting their businesses, which is minimizing their time to actually do what they do best, and that is to create economic activities in those rural areas that are sitting at 85% of unemployment. We as Sadpo can assist in order to create more jobs. Just the past 6 months, I have been amazed with my meetings with Sadpo, where we have been with the DMRE from a policy and regulatory perspective, whether it be health and safety, whether it be the new artisanal scale mining policy that has come out. We have been actively making sure that our membership is, their views and their realities are truly represented. The role of Sadpo is to take on big conversations and make sure that not only do we have the right regulations, but also the right and the best relationships between the key stakeholders, not just government, but also the big license holders like the DBS are built in the sector, so that we can grow the sector together and create jobs.
Getting to those jobs again, there's been such a sharp decline. You're down to about 5,000 people. You're about 5 times that before. You've only got 200 employing entities there. So how long is it going to take to reverse this situation?
We're hoping with the new proposed policy that is coming from government, Martin, that we can start looking into some of the quick wins, because The reality of our sector is the fact that we are talking about the small diamond side, from an alluvial perspective. But from a value perspective, it's actually, in the GDP of the whole diamond sector, we are contributing about 25%. We need to be able to get to a point where the whole one blanket approach is no longer on the table. I'll just give you an example where Sadpo, we got involved with a previously disadvantaged individual who was actually looking for a mining permit on a 5-hectare farm. And that process alone, this person comes from no money, first of all, so there is no investor, because you and I both know that investors are very wary in investing in alluvial diamonds. And when we looked into that process and we were assisting in that process, this person, he had to pay 130,000 rands, in order for him to get the license. It took him 13 months to 15 months, and that was with Sadpo involved on day-to-day basis, assisting. That needs to go on the table. Our people are not in a position, and I'm talking about our members, and I'm talking about the rural communities that are sitting, on top of these minerals. I'm talking about the farmers that are sitting on the top of these minerals. They don't have plus 200,000 odd, that they can put up front. Those are the type of issues that we are having that is now affecting the employment rate.
What will be needed to get the number of small operators back to about 2,000 firms? They were employing about 25,000 people, in the past.
One of the biggest issues that we've experiencing, and you go and look into the West Coast resources, because if you look at alluvials, we still have a lifespan of another 100 years, especially in the West Coast. And we, in the past 2 months, 3 months, Gert and I have been very focused in the West Coast resources, speaking to the key license holders. And there's about 5-6 key players in the West Coast, including DBS. But the biggest issue that we have there is illegal mining. We've been on sites where you actually are walking in with a license holder who is not able to actually do anything. They're too scared to, so we would be standing somewhere, Martin, you can see there's illegal miners, the license holder is with us, and they're not able to actually get any equipment in anything because there's guns, because it's organized crime. That is affecting a lot of people to say that, how am I going to enter this industry when it's that risky? I'm not going to go and go through the 13 months to 15 months of applying for a license, pay about 200,000, then I'm not even able to operate. I'm just giving you one of the examples. So those are some of the things that need to be off the table. And last week we had conversations with SAPS with regards to this illegal mining, for instance. And they also, on their side, Humble said, for this to actually get off the table, it goes back to conversations between you as industry, the security industry, and the police. We cannot do it alone as government. And for me, Martin, we can have some of the best policies and regulations that speak to what we do on day-to-day basis. But if from a relationship perspective, we don't have open door approaches to one another, we only meet each other in courts, we only fight one another through, pen and paper, from a red tape perspective, we are going to destroy our economy.
Well, hopefully, the illegal situation will be dealt with. I hear about it all the time. Hopefully things will be done. But the potential of your industry is huge. In South Africa, we're craving for more jobs. And are there many other sectors of the South African economy able to employ as many as the alluvial diamond sector is able to do.
If you look at the agriculture sector, for instance, they have the ability to bring in volumes. And, we've got other sectors, manufacturing, and I can go on. But if you look at our communities where we are mining, I'm mining in the, middle of the Orange River. There you find that in those communities, there's nothing else that is happening. If that mine closes there, that community is doomed. So in our own areas, in where we are operating, where we are making sure that we are assisting in building economic activities, we are assisting in, bringing transformation, because that's another key factor that is needed in order to grow this sector. Well, without those mining operations, I'm talking about the alluvial diamond operations, most of those communities are unfortunately doomed.
Why are these diamonds along the Middle Orange River wanted by the markets the world over?
When I wanted to invest, in the sector early last year, I had various conversations with different geologists. And what I fell in love with alluvials, especially the Middle Orange River, is that there is nowhere else in the world where you are going to find them, as intense as they are in one, condensed area, from a volumes perspective, they are unique. And South Africa, from an alluvial perspective, it's very well known across the world. You go to any buyer across the world, and I'm also on the marketing side with, from a marketing tender, in the Northwest, which I co-own. And I can tell you that, you've got buyers coming across internationally, coming into South Africa, looking at these alluvial diamonds in South Africa.
What steps are being taken to ensure that these quality diamonds are recovered in a responsible manner that protects the environment?
Currently, I can safely say from all the meetings that we've had with our members is that we are not using any chemicals, to extract our diamonds. We have been very compliant from a health and safety perspective. Hence, you have not seen a lot of issues coming specifically from our sector. So that, for me, is also speaking volumes. And we're also, from a rehabilitation perspective, a very, very compliant. Whenever we have a member that, the DMRE brings to light that there's an issue, Sadpo quickly then will speak to our members openly and make sure that, compliance when it comes to, our health and safety.
What are you doing to encourage operators to make use of state-of-the-art geological modeling and novel earth moving and novel screening techniques and the latest recovery technology?
I'd love to, to think that at some point we will get there where our members are using this modern technology, because there's beautiful technology that has quick turnaround times that is coming, right across the world. But the reality, Martin, for us is that we're dealing here with small operators who actually, by doing things the old school way, is giving them an opportunity to create more jobs in those communities, but also from a funding perspective, because if you look at most of this new technology and machinery, it needs upfront a lot of funding. So from a Sadpo perspective, we have been doing research with the Council of Geoscience, where we're starting conversations to see how do we then make sure that proper due diligence is done in some of our own operations in order for us to still be able to use this state-art technology, but in a much more affordable way.
And swinging to you personally, Keller, how large is your own shareholding in active alluvial diamond operations?
I am operating in the middle of the Orange River. That's where my operations are. So it's very exciting. I'm a 30% shareholder. It's alluvial. And yeah, so I've been there now for a year, and also with a tender house in Swaziland. And I'm also a 30% shareholder there. So in the middle of the Orange River, we have about 5 to 6 operations that side. So we are on the middle tier, plus 500 people, you know, from a job perspective. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. And it has been exciting. I'm still a new player in the industry, Martin. I'm enjoying, you know, the growth of it. But from a policy and legislation perspective, as Gert was saying, I'm coming from, you know, financial services sector and the legal services sector. So I have been dealing with the regulations. I have been dealing, you know, most of my career life, not just in South Africa, in Angola, in Ghana. So, you know, I have been dealing with communities. I've worked as an economic advisor in Parliament from a rural settlements perspective, advising traditional leaders and various other committees. So that's where my background, you know, comes from. And regulations that I believe, and, you know, this is my personal belief, is that the regulations, the policies, they there as guidelines. You know, they giving an operator an understanding of what he needs to do, how he needs to comply, and all of that. But I'm a big believer, in order for all of that to happen, it comes down to people, to relationships, and we can grow this country as long as we don't do it dividedly.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, speaking to Keller, the new CEO of the South African Diamond Producers Organization, Sadpo.